When you log into the lead system, on the front page you're going to see the dashboard. This gives statistics for all of the agents. In order to find your statistics, you'll look at here, you'll find your name. It shows you the location of your office, the total leads that you've been given, the number of current leads that you have, the number of appointments and clients you currently have, your number of clients, if any of your clients are under a buyer broker, how many of your clients are currently listed, how many are under ratified contract. If you have any leads that you have not updated, that will show here. Your converted leads year to date, which turns into your converted percentage year to date. How many of your leads you've closed year to date, your closed percentage, if you have any appointments set, and the survey that the clients fill out, the results come here, and this gives you an average of year to date of your survey results. If you've been absent from a meeting or you missed your duty shift and someone did not cover it, that shows here. And then your hunger percentage year to date will show here. In order to search your clients, you'll go under Customer Management, search customers. You can search by first name, last name, email address, phone number. If you know their phone number, you can start to type in some of the numbers. Then you'll click Search Customers, for example. This will pull up any lead that has a 615 in the phone number. Once it pulls up the lead, if you hover over it, it will show the last notes that have been entered into the lead system for that lead. To view your recent customers, go under Customer Management, Recent Customers. To click on the lead, click View. On the left-hand side, you're going to want to make sure you have all the information filled in. This includes the lead's first name, last name, if there's a spouse's first and last name, email address. If there's an alternate email address, make sure you fill that in. Phone number, and if there's an alternate phone number. If they were a no-show for the appointment, make sure you click that here under Appointment Show. If it's ratified, put in the ratified date. Once it closes, you'll put in the closed date. Make sure you put in your lead source. If they were approved by a lender, click yes or no. Enter the lender's information. Your closing agent, you'll click who the closing agent was. Same with home inspector, termite inspector. You're also going to want to make sure once you go under contract, you put in the contract property address.
There's a couple new features I wanted to go over in the lead system. One, when you're in the lead, you need to make sure when the property closes that you mark it closed in the status. You're also going to want to make sure that all of these are filled in. So you have selected the lender, you've selected the closing agent, home inspector, etc. You want to make sure that the contract address property is all filled in. You want to make sure that the final sales price is filled in, the gross commission that you received, so the commission that came into the entire company, and then the commission that you actually received. This all has to be filled in order for stats to be correct in the lead system. I also wanted to show you there's a couple new tabs that we have that you can kind of look at for different stats. One is broker statistics. The reason that it's important that the stats that I just showed you, or those fields that I just showed you, are put in correctly is because management and you yourself can also look at these broker statistics often to make sure that it's showing the correct number of closings that you have for the month, it's showing the correct number of listings that you listed for the month. We use this in order to figure out who our agent of the month is, and just to make sure that your production level is correct. So when you click on broker statistics, it takes just a few minutes to upload, but you can see just yourself, so you can select yourself. And then you'll see here, this is the current number of listings that everyone has in the company has listed, people under buyer broker, pending, etc. But you can see for each month the close, so it'll show you your closed, how many ratifieds, how many pendings you have in your current month, and how many listings you had that month. So it's really important to make sure that this is completely filled out. Over here, if you see everyone and you click on your name, you'll also be able to see which properties they're saying that you have pending or which properties you say have closed. The reason it's important to make sure that information is put in, because as you see here, like this says address not available, so we can't match it correctly to our other systems. The address has to be in here so that we can see this correctly. And you'll see in here like these numbers are missing, so we're not getting an accurate picture of the actual gross commission that's coming in. So it's really important to make sure that those are taken care of. Another important tab that you're going to want to look at a lot is the appointment conversion stats. Once this loads, I'll show you a couple features that it has, but you're going to want to look at this often and make sure that your conversions are correct and that you're keeping them at the minimum levels that they should be at. So when you click on here, you'll find your name, and then it's going to tell you how many listing appointments you've been giving, how many appointments actually showed, the percentage, how many didn't show, that percentage, how many you converted. This means when you went on the appointment, you actually got listing paperwork signed, and it'll give a percentage there, and then how many of the ones that you got signed actually closed, and it'll give you a percentage there. If the listing wasn't approved, it'll put you there. And then it does the exact same thing for buyers. So it'll tell you how many buyers appointments you've been given, how many of them didn't show, how many in that percentage, how many did not show in that percentage, and then the conversion. So that when you went and met with them, that you actually got a ratified contract, and then how many ratified contracts actually closed. So you're going to want to pay close attention to your conversion rates to make sure that they're correct. Another tab you may want to look into is rolling production. This shows you can find yourself. It'll tell you your average number of closings. It takes the closings over the last 3 months and gives you your average number. Remember, you have to have a minimum of 1 closing a month, so you want to make sure that you are in the white. Once you get in the red, that's a red flag that you don't have the average of 1 closing a month, and you may be charged for that. You can look here under vendor stats. When we look at this, it's going to tell us which agents are using all of our vendors. So this is a good check-in that you can find yourself, and you can see the percentage of vendors that you're using. So this ranks them from top to bottom. We want to make sure that you are using all of our vendors. So this is where you want to make, that's why it's important in that first section I showed you to select which vendors you use, because it uses that information to calculate this. For personal sphere, if you ever close a personal client, it's going to show up in here exactly how many personal sphere clients you've had. So make sure that's always updated so we can honor you and compensate you appropriately for that. Agent statistics, this will just give you an overall statistical, overview of what the stats are for you in particular. So if you ever want to check out your stats, you can click here. Same on the agent dashboard. And lastly, I'm going to show you the leaderboard. This is when you first log into the lead system, this is the page that comes up first. And this shows you for the month who our #1 agent is so far. And that's based on gross commission. So it looks at how much money they are bringing into the company. It'll tell them how many they've converted and how many they've closed for the month. If you want to see who's the #1 agent for the year, so you can kind of check out and see where you're falling in the mix. When you click on year, it'll tell you the #1 agent for the year and what the total gross commission they brought into the company so far. So these are just a couple new features that you can check out in the lead system that we have updated.
We're going to go over proper protocol for following up with leads. Inside Sales will also be calling these leads. If they set the appointment before you, the lead will be reassigned to another agent. When you're given a lead, you should follow up with them within the first 24 hours via email, phone, and text. You must do all 3 if it has a phone number. If it's only an email lead, you only have to email them. When you come in the dashboard and you sign into the lead system, you're going to go under Customer Management, and you can search your customers. First, we're going to look at a lead that does not have a phone number. To look in the lead, you're going to click View. In order to send an email, you can either send an email or send an email using a template. With the login that you log in with, it will auto-populate your email. There are many different email templates you can select from. Some are by agent. Some are the ones that the Inside Sales have already created. If you want to create email templates, you go to Email Management, Manage Templates. If you've already created a template, you can just edit on the one that you have, or you can add a new template by clicking on Add New Template. You'll name your template. So for instance, it may be buyer or seller. For this example, we'll do seller new interest. You can type in a subject of your email. We'll type in ready to list your home. And then you can type in the body of your email. For this example, we'll type in, are you ready to sell your home? Once you've typed in everything you'd like, then you can click on Save Changes. This will save your email template. When you receive an appointment by email, there will be an Accept and Decline button for you to click in the email. Make sure you hit Accept or Decline within the time frame allotted to make sure you get the appointment if you want to accept it. Every time you contact a client, you want to make sure that you are giving them a call to action. There are a few examples we'll give you of call to actions. For example, if they call in about a listing that's no longer available or doesn't meet the requirements that they're looking for, you want to give them some information like, there are 5 other listings in that area, would you like to see one of these? Also, you can also offer to send them, can I send you a free list of foreclosure homes for sale? Also pay special attention to things like email addresses. For example, if their email address is ilovetheskins@gmail.com, obviously they're a Redskins fan. Use this to your advantage. Maybe talk about the game last week. Create conversation with them using specifics that you can determine from information like their email addresses. Once you hit send email, it's automatically going to put the email here in the lead system for you, so it keeps track of any emails that are sent out. Now let's look at a lead that has a phone number. So this lead has a phone number. You're going to want to make sure that mobile is selected if it is in fact a cell phone. You can send a text message through here. Remember that text messages only allow for 160 characters, so make sure you keep this short and sweet. I see you are interested in 123 B Street. Can I set up a time for you to see it? You would hit send. Once you hit send, it's going to send a text message to that client's cell phone. It's also going to register it here under the text message tab of the lead system. Also, you would want to call the phone number, and you're going to want to make a note that you called, texted, and emailed the lead. No response. You're going to select it as a note, and you're going to enter a follow-up date. So you may want to try again tomorrow. Add a new note. Once you add a new note, it's going to come up here in the notes section. So it keeps track of all the notes on this client. You're going to want to reach out every 24 to 48 hours to get them on the phone. If you don't reach them after 4 tries, you can send the lead back to Inside Sales to mark dead. In order to do this, all you need to do is go over here to the side under Current Agent. You just go up and hit Select. Make sure you hit Save Changes at the top. If you do not hit Save Changes, it will not save this. Then you're also going to want to send an email to manager@Chantel and let them know that this client has been unresponsive for 4 tries, and then they can take care of what they do after that. If you reach them and you can set a follow-up date to call them back, make sure you fill in your follow-up dates and make sure that you are following up on the dates that you have set. If you do set the appointment, then you're going to add the appointment to the lead system. To do this, you're going to go up here to Set Appointment. You're going to fill in the date of the appointment, the time of the appointment, what type of appointment is it? Is it a meet and greet, a showing, or a listing appointment? Is it happening at the Chantel Ray office, or is it happening at the property? Pick yourself as the agent, and then you can add any additional info. This is going to go to the customer, so if there's something that you want them to know, you could put that in here. Then you're going to hit Save and Email Customer. It's going to email them and yourselves a copy of the appointment. It will also fill in the appointment date over here so that you can keep track of that as well. This is the proper protocol for following up with a lead.